We were very excited to receive the go-ahead for the funding from Public Health to both create a green seating area for patients outside the main entrance and also look at improving some bike storage for our staff as well. And obviously we wanted to make it a nice place for people to sit and maybe connect with nature, even if it's on a kind of micro level, really, because we know that that's positive for people's mental health. And it's also good, to make a little nature corridor for wildlife, little mini beasts and things to get around our site as well, because it is actually quite a green site, but because of the layout, we don't have a lot of space that's accessible. So bringing that closer to the patients was something that we were trying to do. And this is the final setup. So we've got 2 benches and we've got 4 of these large planters, absolutely full of all sorts of different herbs and berries and fragrant plants like lavender. Hopefully when the plants grow up a bit, people will be able to come and snip a little bit. And I put a few little signs there sort of saying what they were, and I've left all the planting labels so people will be able to identify the plants. So if they think, oh, what is that? I'll take some of that. All the information's there for them so they can have a look. And already people are sort of planning on their strategies for maximising the strawberry harvests. People say, oh, those plants smell really nice. Well, you can talk about how that can be positive for people's mental health. Also importance of the biodiversity and, the flowering plants. We've got lots of lavender in there. So hopefully when that flowers, we can talk about the importance of pollinators and wildlife corridors and inspire other people that maybe don't have a lot of space to get planting.
Neat size project up in Bude, and what they wanted to do is to create an outside peace space. Would be to help the patients with relaxation, get them outside to increase vitamin D levels, and also with relaxation to help with their blood pressure. It was also hoped that it would increase biodiversity around the practice. It was also hoped that patients would get involved with the development and upkeep of the garden, leading in itself to social benefits and improved mental health and well-being. We had some really great feedback from Melanie. She said it's already looking lovely, such an improvement on a previously redundant site. She said, I'm hoping anyone sitting there will be able to take 10 minutes out of a day and relax. And I know that the hope is that's going to be staff as well as patients. She said, I'm very glad we found the time to do this. It will hopefully put a smile on people's faces. I love our little peace garden. The final message she sent yesterday with the pictures was, I think you've started something now. All the team love the garden and are itching to get out there helping to keep it up.
What we're doing with our money is we're creating a sort of more of a garden space out the back of the surgery, largely really for the staff to enjoy. We have a really high turnover of our admin staff too, and obviously we need a strong admin team to support the work that we do. And so we feel that if we can create a nicer space out there, then it would benefit them. As well as improving the biodiversity, it would also benefit them for their sort of mental health and hopefully retain the workforce a little bit. But we've got a plan in place, and we should have. I'm hoping by the end of this month we'll have things set up and growing. We've been in touch with the Nuclear Orchard again this time to get some advice about sourcing local soil and compost, and just sort of to get a bit more advice with regards to what we're going to be planting.
So I'm a social prescribing link worker at Rosen Surgeries, and through the Greener Practice programme and links we had, came across the opportunity to apply for a grant, and it seemed perfect with the development of the Rosen Centre, which they'll explain in a moment. A great opportunity for the community and for the patients within the community to develop some sort of community garden.
The grounds, after 6 years neglect, we're very overgrown with couch grass, which is very nasty, brambles, nettles, and it was covered in the debris from the 2 dead trees by the gate. We trimmed it and began taming it down with clippers till the brambles and things were reduced to about 6 inches.
Nicola Zana was the local garden expert who was invited to advise on the creation of the community garden in what was the very overgrown grounds. Nicola suggested a permaculture garden would be a good idea. enabled to grow vegetables, flowers intensively, and showpiece different methods of cultivation like raised beds with reservoirs, cascading vertical growing areas, a hugel bed, a normal bed creating perennial flower area for beauty and insects, and a bug hotel and a wormery. The current design enables a broad community interest and longevity of process due to the wide permaculture models, ideas and methods that have already been created. These methods could provide food for local use and specifically for the centre itself, residentials and day visits, etc., etc. There will be a seating area for gardeners to rest, sort seedlings. The main paths would be accessible, which is key, to wheelchairs in most places. The two dead alders at the side of the main gate were left as tall stumps to leave as much habitat as possible, and perhaps even to provide a place for a bench or used as posts for signs. These tall stumps could even be carved into leaping dolphins, chainsaw art, or other kinds of tree art.
You can see how we're not using the whole of the grounds, just about a third of what used to be a lawn, and we laid out the bedding plans with sticks and things like that, so that we began to get an idea of what we were really doing.
I think as well as the repurposed containers as well there that have been donated from somewhere. I think
we're really trying to use everything that might have been thrown away otherwise. So you can see the ground nicely cleared. We've now covered that all in cardboard to try and keep the weeds and brambles from coming back. You've got a raised bed that we bought in, and we hope to use that then as a pattern for other raised beds that we can make on the grounds.
So the whole aim, I suppose, as well as having a fantastic space for the Rosen Centre, is sort of to bring the community and patients together in sort of meaningful activity outside in the garden, to promote health and wellbeing and learning. So we're sharing information through Facebook pages for the centre, and I've got a social prescribing Facebook page now, posters up in the surgeries and various things. We've also got Anthony, who's kindly come to just explain why he's joined in. Can you see him? Can you see him there?
Yep.
That's it.
Hi, Anthony.
Yeah. Hello. Yes, it seems that it's a very attractive thing. I think that once I got over the initial hurdles with should I or should I not participate with it, I began to become a little bit more stronger in deciding that it was good for me, and I sort of started, and it became really quite real for me because I began to realize that most of my life I've been doing a practical work, and I used my hands a lot more than, well, most people. So I was sort of not actually coping 100% during the last 3 years with this COVID thing, and I began to realize that what I needed was to feel that I'm contributing something, that I'm actually being able to take part, be involved, participate, and gradually I'm beginning to feel that I'm part of a team, a necessary part of the whole, of getting this sort of enthusiastic reality strong enough to realize that it's doing me good and doing the community good and doing life good. And this permaculture garden seems to be an ideal way for me to contribute something, because I think that people and life in general needs to contribute and take part and form their little biodiversity little empires so that they can help other things and life in general and be a productive, not only human being, but part of life. And for me, it's just a starting point to begin to realize my potential.
Used Newquay Orchard, and Newquay Orchard is a community interest company that's based in Newquay, but it also has set up a farm at Ruthvoice, which is actually in the Petrock Group Practice catchment area, and it's probably one of the most deprived sections of our PCN. and it's a 2-acre site which is going to be expanded over the next couple of years to 4 acres. So with the work that we've done with our health coaches already with our diabetic patients, both our pre-diabetics and our newly diagnosed and more long-term kind of difficult to gain any impact patients, that by altering their diet we can massively improve their diabetes outcomes and their diabetes metrics, but also in some cases completely reverse their type 2 diabetes. And for some patients this has been absolutely a life-changing approach. This will be for 12 patients, and they receive a weekly veg bag from Newquay Orchard, but it's more than just that. They receive a newsletter each month giving them some updates of what's been happening on the farm, what they can expect in their veg bag that week, some tips and hints on how to cook it and prepare it, and a recipe card. And I know this week's recipe is for potato and pointed cabbage soup. Really simple, straightforward, easy things to do. You don't need any skills, you don't need a lot of cupboard ingredients, and they can be prepared without a lot of energy use. But already we've had fantastic feedback from the patients. So for instance, one of them said, last week was great, I used it all on the 4 days, and they're using it in salads, stir fries, making shakes from it. They're roasting the whole vegetables, so everything from the cauliflower gets roasted. There's no waste, and we waste a huge amount of food every year, and it's a huge carbon footprint. And it's, a lot of people could be fed with all that food waste. So it's really important that people can see that they can use everything. It's hugely life-changing for people, but we need to get those stories out there that you don't necessarily need the doctor to give you a tablet to make your life better. Most people have got the tools, they just need a little bit of support to get them on the right path again.
So we know that planetary health and human health are fundamentally intertwined, and we know that what we eat, the air we breathe, the soil we grow our food in, the pollinators we cohabit with are all crucial for human health. We also know that working together outside and creating something beautiful and productive is really good for our mental health. And we know that the best way to tackle biodiversity and climate anxiety is to take action. And the best way to help staff feel valued in a really difficult job is to create somewhere where they can grow something beautiful and productive and feel as if they are contributing positively. So supporting, finding, building and creating green spaces, peace places, green waiting rooms, growing spaces bring a wheelbarrow full of co-benefits for staff, for patients, for community cohesion, social capital, for water management, for carbon sequestration, environmental growth and habitat creation, for food skills, dietary understanding, knowledge and confidence, all of those health conditions around cardiovascular and cardiorespiratory health, diabetes, musculoskeletal conditions, all of those are benefited by being able to get outside and get involved in growing something that's either beautiful to look at or really good for us to eat. And that takes us right back to planetary health and human health being fundamentally the same thing. One of the community members who got involved in one of the gardens that Roseland Practice developed said, "Can I just say that yesterday I saw a bee and I began to realise that that's a productive thing, not just for itself, but for the flowers, and it's able to enjoy what it's doing." I think human beings should take an example from that and realise that it's not only themselves, it's everything else, and we are a part of everything else. But we just forgot. I think that nails it.